Under the Companies Act, 2013, companies raise debt capital primarily through debentures, which are financial instruments representing a company's borrowed funds. As per Section 230, a debenture includes debenture stock, bonds, or other securities issued by a company, whether secured or unsecured. The Act recognizes various types of debentures, such as convertible and non-convertible debentures, secured and unsecured debentures, and redeemable and irredeemable debentures. The issuance and regulation of debentures are covered under Sections 71 and 73. When a company secures a debenture, it may create a charge over its assets. A floating charge is a security interest over a changing pool of assets, while a fixed charge is secured against specific immovable assets. A fundamental distinction exists between shareholders and debenture holders. Shareholders are owners of the company and receive dividends, whereas debenture holders are creditors entitled to fixed interest payments. Shareholders enjoy voting rights, but debenture holders generally do not participate in company management unless specific terms allow them to do so. Membership in a company is governed by Sections 255 and 88. A person can become a member through subscription to the Memorandum of Association, by holding shares, or via transmission of shares upon succession. A company must maintain a register of members, Section 88, detailing members' names, shareholding details, and membership status. Membership ceases upon share transfer, forfeiture, resignation, or dissolution of the company. Directors play a pivotal role in corporate governance. Under Section 234, a director is someone appointed to the company's board of directors. The minimum and maximum number of directors in a company are regulated under Section 149. Directors must meet specific qualifications, and certain individuals are disqualified under Section 164 due to insolvency, criminal convictions, or non-compliance with financial regulations. Directors have statutory powers and duties under Sections 166 and 179, including acting in the company's best interest, avoiding conflicts of interest, and ensuring compliance with corporate laws. The Director Identification Number, DIN, mandated by Section 152, is a unique identifier required for any individual serving as a director. Company meetings are essential for decision-making and corporate governance. The Companies Act outlines different types of meetings, including board meetings, Section 173, annual general meetings, AGMs, Section 96, and extraordinary general meetings, EGMs, Section 100. Meetings must follow a structured procedure, including issuing a notice, Section 101, ensuring a quorum, Section 103, and electing a chairman, Section 104. Members can vote in meetings personally or via proxies, Section 105. Voting may be conducted through show of hands, poll, postal ballot, or electronic means, ensuring transparency in corporate decisions. 1. Membership in a company, Section 255, Section 88. A member of a company is defined under Section 255 as a person who subscribes to the Memorandum of Association, holds shares, or acquires membership by transfer or transmission. Section 88 mandates every company to maintain a register of members, which contains details such as name, address, and shareholding information. Membership ceases due to share transfer, forfeiture, resignation, or company dissolution. 2. Directors, Sections 234, 149, 152, 164, 166, 179. A director, under Section 234, is an individual appointed to the board of directors. Section 149 specifies the minimum and maximum number of directors in a company, while Section 152 deals with their appointment. Certain individuals are disqualified from becoming directors under Section 164 due to reasons such as criminal convictions, insolvency, or financial mismanagement. Directors have statutory duties under Section 166, including acting in the company's best interests and avoiding conflicts of interest. Section 179 outlines the powers of the board, including policy decisions, financial management, and compliance enforcement. 3. Meetings and procedure. Sections 96, 100, 101, 103, 104, 105, 173. Companies conduct different meetings as per the Act. Section 96. Annual General Meetings, AGMs, for shareholder decision-making. Section 100. Extraordinary General Meetings, EGMs, for urgent matters. Section 101. Notice requirements for meetings. Section 103. Quorum requirements to ensure valid decision-making. Section 104. Chairman's role in conducting meetings. Section 105. Proxy voting rules for absentee shareholders. Section 173. Board meetings and their procedural requirements. 4. Debt capital, debentures and charges, Sections 2, 30, 71, 73. A debenture, as per Section 2, 30, includes bonds, debenture stock, and other debt instruments. Companies issue secured or unsecured debentures under Section 71, and Section 73 regulates the acceptance of deposits from the public. A debenture may be secured using a fixed charge on specific immovable assets or a floating charge on a changing pool of assets. 5. Difference between shareholders and debenture holders. Shareholders are owners of the company and receive dividends, while debenture holders are creditors entitled to fixed interest payments. Shareholders have voting rights, whereas debenture holders do not participate in management unless specified. 6. Director Identification Number, DIN, Section 152. Under Section 152, any individual appointed as a director must obtain a Director Identification Number, DIN, a unique identification required for compliance and governance. 1. Majority Rule and Minority Protection, Sections 47, 241 to 244. The principle of majority rule states that decisions of the majority shareholders bind the company, as seen in Section 47, which provides voting rights to shareholders. However, to protect minority shareholders, the Act provides exceptions. Section 241. Minority shareholders can apply to the tribunal if company affairs are being conducted prejudicially. Section 242. The National Company Law Tribunal, NCLT, can order relief against oppression or mismanagement. Section 243. If an order under Section 242 is passed, the tribunal can terminate, modify, or set aside agreements. Section 244 specifies the minimum shareholding required to apply under Section 241, typically 10% of issued share capital or 100 members in some cases. 2. Prevention of oppression and mismanagement, Sections 241 to 244, 246, 398. Oppression and mismanagement arise when the majority abuses power, leading to harmful decisions against the minority. Who can apply? As per Section 244, an individual or a group of shareholders meeting the shareholding requirements can approach NCLT for relief. Powers of the Central Government, Section 246, 398. The central government has the power to intervene and investigate company affairs in cases of oppression or mismanagement. Reliefs available. Section 242. NCLT may order removal of directors, regulation of future conduct, cancellation of agreements, or forced buyout of shares to rectify mismanagement. 3. Winding up of a company. Sections 270 to 365, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, 2016. Winding up refers to the process of closing a company and liquidating its assets. There are three modes of winding up. A. Winding up by court, compulsory winding up, sections 271 to 303. Under section 271, a company may be wound up by the tribunal, NCLT, for reasons such as inability to pay debts, section 271, 1a. Acting against the interest of sovereignty or public order, section 271, 1b. Fraudulent conduct, section 271, 1c. Company passing a special resolution for winding up, section 271, 1e. The procedure is governed by sections 275 to 303, involving the appointment of an official liquidator, settlement of liabilities, and distribution of assets. B. Voluntary winding up, sections 304 to 323. A company may voluntarily wind up if members voluntary winding up, section 304, when the company is solvent and shareholders pass a special resolution. Creditors voluntary winding up, section 306, when the company cannot pay debts, creditors play a role in liquidating assets. The process involves declaration of solvency, section 305. Appointment of liquidator, section 310. Final winding up meeting, section 318. C. Winding up under Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, 2016. The IBC, 2016, streamlined the corporate insolvency resolution process, SIRP. C. Winding up under Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, 2016. The IBC, 2016, streamlined the corporate insolvency resolution process, SIRP. If a company defaults on payments, creditors can initiate insolvency proceedings under Section 7, Financial Creditors, or Section 9, Operational Creditors, of the IBC. If no resolution is reached within 180 to 270 days, the company goes into liquidation, with assets distributed to creditors as per the waterfall mechanism in Section 53 of the IBC. 4. Winding up subject to court supervision, sections 325 to 365. A company under voluntary winding up can be placed under court supervision if the tribunal suspects fraud or misconduct. Sections 325 to 365 govern this process, allowing the tribunal to appoint a liquidator and oversee liquidation proceedings.